Everyone, Moshe Rothschild here, the Global Israel Alliance, bringing you the summary of the news for the week ending January 3rd, 2020. This week, the Israeli government approved 2,000 new homes in the settlements in Judea and Samaria. This is in the wake of the announcement of Secretary of State Mike Pompeo that the U.S. no longer sees settlement in Judea and Samaria, what the world calls the West Bank, as illegal. This week as well, the Security Cabinet approved Defense Minister Naftali Bennett's proposal to deduct about 150 million shekel from the tax money that Israel transfers to the Palestinian Authority, which is about $43 million. The reason that they deducted it, because that is the total amount that the Palestinian Authority pays terrorists and their families for their acts of terror. So why should we fund terror? Makes a lot of sense. Netanyahu won a landslide in the Likud primary to remain the head of the Likud government. This again could make the national election complicated, because the Blue and White Party, which is our second largest party, has said they will not sit with the Likud in a national government while Netanyahu is the head of the party. Remember, Israel is going to elections again on March 2nd. That will be our third election this year. In increasing numbers, Jews are visiting the Temple Mount. This past Chanukah, on the holiday of Chanukah, there was an increase of 66% over Chanukah from last year, despite the fact that the Islamic Trust that oversees the Temple Mount is continuously harassing Jews and Christians and any non-Muslims that ascend the Temple Mount. We did that story already. Israel found new partners over the past decade to trade with, including countries like Canada, Ukraine, Colombia, and South Korea. And data released this week said that it has been incredibly successful, that Israeli exports have increased by 70% over the last decade as opposed to the previous decade. A young Israeli woman, Naama Issachar, who has been jailed because she was caught with about 7.5 grams of marijuana when she was traveling from India back to Israel, and she was caught in transit and accused of being a drug smuggler and received a 7.5-year sentence. This week, she was secretly moved to a new prison. This whole drama seems to be a political ploy somehow by Russia, and our prime minister as well urged the Russian prime minister Putin to release Naama Issachar. So that's still a developing story over the last few months, and let's see what happens. Netanyahu this week he said he will be asking the Knesset for immunity, and the Knesset will not rule on his request for immunity from prosecution until a new Knesset is formed, which will be after March 2nd, hopefully. What Netanyahu is hoping for is that he will have a Knesset that is a right-wing Knesset, and therefore they are very likely to grant him immunity from prosecution, but we will see what happens. This week, in a very lovely story, an unassuming 94-year-old Israeli from not 100% sure where he was living, the story doesn't say, but he donated in his death, he bequeathed a 50 million shekel donation to the Ichalav Hospital in Tel Aviv. That's around 15 million US dollars. His name was Daniel Jacobson, and his neighbors, of course, said that he led a very modest life, and his family was one of the founders of the towns of Rehovot and Rishon LeZion. This past year, 2019, was an incredibly successful year for tourism. We hit the highest peak with 4.55 million visitors, an increase of 11% over last year. And that is about it for this week. That's the summary of the news for Israel. Now, again, if you're going to be anywhere near Naples, Florida, February 23rd, we're hosting the Israel Conference. It's going to be extraordinary. Sunday, February 23rd. Go to our website, israelalliance.org. israelalliance.org, and we'd love to see you there. If any of you people out there from Momentum that are from Florida, go to that website, sign up. We'd love to see you. And I'm actually going to be traveling the week of January 13th, January 12th. I will be in Florida for 3 days. If anybody wants to see me or to have me speak, I'm very happy to. Please reach out to me. In any way that you can, through the website, my email, responding to this email, or some other way. Anyhow, wishing you all great Shabbat, a wonderful Sabbath. Blessings here from Israel. Moshe Rothschild, the Global Israel Alliance.